If a man is not investing in you, the worst thing you can do is try harder to make him care. That is where many people lose their power. They give more attention, more messages, more chances, and more of themselves, hoping that one day the other person will finally see their value. But human nature does not always reward what is freely given. Sometimes, the more you chase, the less you are valued. Machiavelli understood a simple truth. When someone shows you that you are not a priority, believe their actions before their words. Your goal is not to force his attention. Your goal is to protect your position, your dignity, and your peace. So if he is not investing in you, avoid these 7 mistakes. Mistake 1. Chasing him for attention. The first mistake is chasing a man who has already shown you that he is willing to let you go. You send the first message every time. You ask why he is distant. You try to restart conversations that he keeps ending. You create reasons to meet him. You give him attention, even when he gives you almost nothing in return. You may believe you are showing interest, but there is a deeper danger here. You are teaching him that he can receive your attention without earning it. A person often learns how to treat you from what you allow. If he knows that you will always return, even after he ignores you, then there is little reason for him to change. This does not mean you should play childish games or pretend to be cold. It means you should stop doing the work of 2 people. If he wants to speak with you, let him make some effort. If he wants to see you, let him create an opportunity. If he values the connection, his actions should reveal it. Machiavelli would tell you to watch behavior, not promises. A man can say, "I like you," but if he never makes time for you, those words have little practical value. Attention is easy to give in words. Investment requires action. The moment you stop chasing does not mean you are trying to punish him. You are simply stepping back and observing reality. If he comes closer, you have information. If he disappears, you have information. Either way, you win something important. Clarity. Never chase someone into giving you what they should willingly give. Your value does not increase because you convince another person to recognize it. Your value becomes visible when you stop begging for recognition. Mistake 2. Giving more to earn his love. The second mistake is believing that if you give enough, he will finally invest in you. You become more available. You become more understanding. You forgive everything. You solve his problems. You listen for hours. You make excuses for his behavior. You give emotional support while receiving almost none in return. This can feel noble, but it can also become a silent bargain. I will give you everything, and eventually you will love me the way I want. That bargain is dangerous, because the other person may never have agreed to it. Love is not a debt that someone must repay because you were kind. If you give with the secret expectation that your sacrifice will force commitment, resentment will eventually grow. A wise person gives from strength, not desperation. There is nothing wrong with caring deeply. There is nothing wrong with being generous. But generosity without boundaries can become self-abandonment. Ask yourself a simple question. If I stopped giving so much, would he still make an effort to keep me in his life? That question can reveal more than 100 emotional conversations. You should never have to exhaust yourself just to remain important to someone. If your presence requires constant performance, then you are not building a relationship. You are auditioning for a position that should have been offered freely. The strongest move is not to give less because you want revenge. It is to give according to reality. Match effort with effort. Match consistency with consistency. Let his actions determine how much access he receives to your time and energy. When someone invests, you can invest. When someone withdraws, you do not run after them with more of yourself. You simply step back and let reality speak. Remember this: you cannot buy genuine affection with unlimited sacrifice. Mistake 3. Asking for the same effort again and again. The third mistake is repeatedly asking someone to give you what they already know you need. You tell him you want more communication. You explain that you want more time together. You tell him that you feel ignored. He promises to improve, and for a short time, things change. Then the same behavior returns. So you explain yourself again. This cycle can slowly destroy your position. not because your needs are wrong, but because repeated requests without consequences teach the other person that your words have no weight. A powerful person does not need to announce the same boundary 10 times. They communicate clearly, observe what happens, and then make a decision. There is a difference between expressing your needs and begging someone to meet them. If a man does not understand what you need after one honest conversation, repeating it 20 times will not create desire. And if he understands, but simply does not care enough to act, more explanations will not change his priorities. Machiavelli understood that actions create authority. Your boundary becomes real when your behavior supports your words. If you say, "I will not accept being treated this way," but continue accepting it every week, the other person learns that your boundary is only a sentence. So instead of endless explanations, watch what happens after you speak. Does he change because he genuinely wants to keep you? Does he make an effort without being reminded? Does he become more consistent when he understands that your presence is not guaranteed? These answers matter. You do not need to threaten him. You do not need to create drama. You simply need to be willing to leave situations that repeatedly make you feel unwanted. Sometimes silence after a clear boundary is more powerful than another emotional speech. Mistake 4. Becoming jealous to get his attention. The fourth mistake is trying to make him jealous, because you believe jealousy will make him realize your value. You post things only to get a reaction. You mention other men. You suddenly become distant just to see if he will chase. You hope that the fear of losing you will finally make him invest. This strategy can create attention, but attention is not the same as commitment. Jealousy may make someone react, but it does not necessarily make them respect you. You may get a message, a question, or a sudden burst of interest, but once the threat disappears, the old behavior can return. A person who only becomes interested when they think they are losing access to you may not be investing in you. They may simply be reacting to the loss of control. There is a major difference between being desired and being valued. Do not build your power around making someone afraid. Build it around being capable of walking away. If you want to move forward with your life, move forward for yourself. Meet people. Improve your career. Take care of your appearance. Build your friendships. Learn new skills. Become stronger emotionally and financially. But do not turn your life into a performance designed to make one man watch you. Machiavelli would not advise you to reveal every move to your opponent. In relationships, this means you do not need to constantly explain what you are doing or why you are unavailable. You have a life that exists beyond his attention. The most powerful form of distance is genuine independence. When you stop trying to create jealousy, something important happens. You stop measuring your worth by his reaction. If he notices your absence and chooses to invest, observe his actions. If he does not, accept the information without trying to create another reaction. Mistake 5. Accepting the bare minimum because you fear losing him. The fifth mistake is staying, because you are afraid that leaving means you will never find someone better. Fear can make a person accept almost anything. You start calling occasional attention, effort you call a late-night message, care you call one good day. After weeks of neglect change, you focus on the few moments when he makes you feel special, and ignore the pattern that makes you feel unwanted. This is how low standards slowly become normal. The fear of losing someone can become more powerful than the desire to be treated well. But think carefully. If you must accept poor treatment to keep someone, what exactly are you keeping? A relationship should not require you to constantly negotiate for basic respect. Machiavelli's lesson here is simple. Never become so afraid of losing a position that you accept conditions that destroy your power. The same principle applies to relationships. If keeping someone requires you to abandon your standards, then the cost is too high. You must learn to distinguish between patience and self-neglect. Patience means giving a reasonable person room to improve. Self-neglect means repeatedly accepting the same behavior because you are afraid to walk away. Do not confuse potential with reality. Maybe he could become more caring. Maybe he could become more committed. Maybe one day he will realize what he has. But your decisions should be based on who he is now, not on the person you hope he becomes. A strong person does not need to know whether someone better is waiting on the other side before leaving a bad situation. They leave because their current situation is no longer acceptable. Your peace is not something you should trade for occasional attention. And remember, when someone knows you are terrified of losing them, they may gain too much power over your emotions. When you know that you can walk away from what does not serve you, fear loses its control. Mistake 6. Trying to prove your worth. The sixth mistake is trying to prove your worth to someone who has already decided how much effort they want to give. You become more attractive, more successful, more available, more understanding, hoping that one day he will finally realize what he is missing. But understand this, your worth does not begin when someone notices it. The moment you start trying to prove yourself, you place the other person above you. You make his approval the reward, and your self-respect becomes the price. Machiavelli understood that power is not created by begging for recognition. It comes from knowing your position and acting according to it. You do not need to convince someone that you are valuable. Let your life demonstrate it. Build yourself because you respect yourself. Improve your mind, your appearance, your skills, your finances, your confidence, and your peace. But do not turn your growth into a message for one person. The strongest response to someone who undervalues you is not an argument. It is a life that continues without needing their approval. If he sees your value later, that is his realization. If he never sees it, that is his loss. Mistake 7. Staying available after he stops investing. The seventh and final mistake is remaining completely available after someone has stopped making an effort. You answer instantly every time. You cancel your plans when he suddenly appears. You make yourself emotionally available whenever he is bored or lonely. He disappears for days, then returns with a simple message, and you welcome him as if nothing happened. This creates a dangerous pattern. He learns that access to you has no cost, even when his effort is almost zero. Being unavailable does not mean playing games. It means having standards for access to your time and energy. If someone wants a place in your life, they should contribute something meaningful to that place. Do not punish him. Do not insult him. Do not create unnecessary drama. Simply stop carrying the entire connection by yourself. If he reaches out, look at the quality of his effort. Is he only looking for attention? Or is he actually trying to build something? Does he make plans? Does he keep his word? Does he show consistency? Does he respect your time? Words can create hope, but patterns reveal intention. And if the pattern remains the same, you already have your answer. There is a final lesson you should remember. Never fight for a position that someone else is clearly unwilling to give you. You cannot force someone to value you. You cannot negotiate someone into genuine desire. You cannot love someone into becoming consistent, but you can control your response. You can stop chasing. You can stop overgiving. You can stop explaining the same boundary. You can stop using jealousy. You can stop accepting the bare minimum. You can stop proving your worth. And you can stop giving unlimited access to someone who gives you limited effort. That is where your power returns. Machiavelli's greatest lesson is not about controlling other people. It is about understanding human behavior clearly enough that you do not become controlled by it. When someone pulls away, do not immediately panic. Observe. When someone gives less, do not automatically give more. Observe. When someone repeatedly shows you that you are not a priority, do not waste your life trying to become one. Sometimes the most powerful move is not to fight for someone's attention, but to withdraw your attention and allow their true intentions to reveal themselves. Remember, what you tolerate teaches people how to treat you, and what you walk away from teaches yourself what you deserve. If this video gave you a new way to see relationships and human behavior, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who needs to hear this. And tell me in the comments, which of these 7 mistakes do you think destroys a person's power the fastest?